Hello and welcome to Fight News Now. I'm John Pollock alongside John Ramdeen and Robin Black, who is back fresh off a work assignment down in Las Vegas.
Well, if you consider a work assignment like lying beside the pool or drinking lots of beer or going up.
You were undercover reporting on any fighters that maybe are getting ready for fights and maybe should be not poolside, but rather getting into a gym.
I was keeping my eye open just in case any fighters were drinking beer or hanging by the pool.
You worked with Frank Mir?
I did train with Angelo Reyes, who's Frank Mir's boxing coach, and at the UFC headquarters, which was really fun. And yeah, it was, I mean, the boxing was great, but the drinking beer by the pool was pretty nice. I love my job, man. Absolutely love my job. But you realize that break, you come in raring to go.
Well, let's go back to Saturday night in Portland, Oregon, where John Lineker and John Dodson had a fantastic bantamweight main event. It was very close. I agreed with the judges. I scored it 3-2 for Lineker. I thought Dodson won the first and the fifth rounds. Dodson certainly was not happy with this decision. He wants a rematch. But with John Lineker, this is the fifth time he has now missed weight in the UFC. Does he advance any further in that bantamweight division, or does missing weight kind of curtail that?
Yeah, I think he shouldn't get any opportunities. Part of your job as a mixed martial arts professional is to make weight, and we've seen it time and time again. It seems like he doesn't respect whether it be 125 pounds or 135 pounds. Who knows if he would make weight.
Seems like this guy doesn't know what he's doing with the cutting.
And when it comes to the fight itself, I actually had John Dodson winning 4 of the 5 rounds. Wow. I think it came down to his head movement, the fact that he was able to slip and he was able to counter. And I think John Anik said that Dodson scored 70% of his shots. Yeah, Lineker might have thrown more in terms of numbers, but I felt that John Dodson was the more effective striker. And again, if I'm from a martial arts standpoint, after those 25 minutes, who would you rather be, the guy with the damage on his face or the guy that he evaded and scored? So I understand that it was a close fight, and maybe Lineker can convince a lot of people because of his abilities to move forward and deal with the punishment. He seems impervious to pain, but I don't think you should reward this guy because he comes in and misses weight. Now he shouldn't have the opportunity to face Dominic Cruz. And maybe the scoring should change, because I was mentioning to Robin before, maybe you could take a page out of Pride's book, and if a round is very, very close, which we saw throughout those 25 minutes, the guy that misses weight, I think that it should automatically go to the guy that made weight, opposed to somebody that didn't take things serious.
You know, we look at these highlights right here, and you sure see Lineker catching glove, catching hand, catching arm a lot in these shots. And you see Dodson really evading beautifully, and he gets out of the way of that left hook well. This is when he came on the best. I thought he won round 4, I agree. I thought Lineker took round 4, and it was the body shots that made that happen. But I had Dodson winning every other round, and I know that it's hard to discern, and that's a part of it, but look at all the beautiful timing on here. Look at him make a miss. Look at the result of it, the takedowns, the head kicks, the straight left hand. Dodson fought himself a beautiful fight. So did Lineker. Lineker truly did as well to keep himself in there. He's not the judge. You know, he's just got to keep moving forward and keep pushing his game, and he did that, and that would be extremely hard. As your eye is closing, you're being trained to hesitate. You can't train him to hesitate.
I feel that with John Lineker, I mean, unfortunately, this is an extremely talented fighter, and he's been his own worst enemy. How many fights ago would he have fought for the flyweight title if he had been on weight at flyweight? I mean, this
but nobody's
is the reason.
penalizing him. Nobody's like this. This is an insult to the entire sport of mixed martial arts, and it's an insult to the UFC and their roster. The fact that he continues to get fights, despite the fact that he has missed weight so many times. Now, again, I'm a big fan of John Lineker. If you threw the weight cut out the window and you match, you put forth who are the most exciting fighters in the UFC, this guy is probably in the top 10 or top 20 on that list. But that's not the only part of the game. You have to come in on weight. And for a guy that's missed weight so many times, you shouldn't give him an opportunity to fight for a UFC championship.
Which, if that's the case, this fight, then essentially the winner doesn't move forward because of that. And you've knocked off a contender, or at least a future contender, in John Dodson too. I mean, that to me is the ultimate negative of a situation like this, where
It's okay. We got a kid with tattoos on his neck
Yeah.
who knocks people out.
Yeah.
He's ready
Yeah.
to go. You know, there's always somebody, right?
Well, missing weight. We missed you last week, Robin, because
Indeed.
this was just a card full of guys missing weight. Alex Oliveira, I mean, this guy wasn't even in the area code of lightweight.
Insane.
Coming in 5.5 pounds over. I think Will Brooks, completely understandable why this guy, who's in the sauna, finding out that he's missed weight. Will Brooks does come in on weight. He's finished in the 3rd round by Oliveira, and then it was the post-fight that everyone was focused upon here with Alex Oliveira taunting Brooks and then Brooks throwing his mouthpiece at him. But this is, again, Alex Oliveira, at least he is moving back up to welterweight, but I think you have to look down at this and he was not even close to making it.
Yeah, what I think is amazing is that he decided to taunt Will Brooks, because, again, if he came to Brazil, he didn't make weight, Will Brooks had every opportunity to say, you know what, I'm not fighting this fight. You're not going to get your show money. You're not going to get your win bonus. I want to be safe. Instead, because we were talking about this, it was 5 pounds. What does 5 pounds actually turn into over the next day? And
Could be 10, could be
10
12,
or
could be more.
Could be more. So you look at the advantage, but what you got to take away from this is that Will Brooks now knows how to deal with something that he has never dealt with before in his mixed martial arts career. The fact is that he injured that rib in round 1.
He said it broke in the first.
Exactly, and then having to deal with round 2, he didn't get stopped until round 3. So you see what type of an individual he is, because he could have bailed after round 1. Instead, tried to push through it, tried to play this physical game as Oliveira is playing his physical game. I just think the way that things ended up at the end is despicable, but at the same time, you create a story, and if I was Will Brooks, I'd be demanding a rematch.
Yeah, I mean, we ask these guys, they get paid more, they get better opportunities if they throw water bottles and insult each other's mothers, and then we ask them to forget about that at the end. It's not easy to do after that kind of combat. It's not easy to do after that kind of emotional pressure cooker. Will Brooks will be back. He'll be a better fighter for it, but I mean, it's tough to ask these guys to just forget about it and hug after.
All the underdogs won on the main card. I want to quickly mention Brandon Moreno. Awesome Big
stuff.
upset over Luis Smoka, and this guy's personality. This is a great
sport.
story to watch if you've been watching The Ultimate Fighter. He was the 16th flyweight out on the first episode, and here he beats Luis Smoka. We're back Thursday night, 7 Eastern, for our UFC 204 preview show, headlined by Michael Bisping and Dan Henderson for the middleweight championship.
Go Hendo.